Hey there, YouTube. I'm Jack, and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. Hope you guys all had a lovely weekend out there. It was really nice here, and it was much needed. We got some sunshine, had blue skies both Saturday and Sunday, and I took advantage of it. I got outside just as much as I could. The weather has never affected my mood before, but the last year or two, it's like just having periods like we've had the last 2 or 3 weeks where it's been just gray day after day after day after day. It's really starting to affect me, so much needed. Anyhow, today I want to talk about staying satisfied on a raw food diet. Guys, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, I'd appreciate if you go down and hit that subscribe button now. Then click on the little bell and check send notifications so you'll stay subscribed to the channel. I was thinking this weekend, this is definitely the biggest thing I see. I have people ask me, I see it in comments when I'm on Instagram. It's people seem to struggle to stay satisfied on a raw food diet, and that's so the opposite for me. So it's kind of hard for me to wrap my head around that sometimes, because since I've been doing this about 8.5 years, to me it's just a license to eat. I don't restrict anything. I just eat. I wake up in the morning. If I want to eat, I eat. If I feel like eating, I eat. And it all boils down to what we're eating. And what's one of my favorite overused cliches of my own? Is it a cliche if you come up with it yourself? The cleaner you eat, the more you can eat. That's people just are not going to get that. Because when you're eating a lot of this garbage out there, when you fall off the wagon or whatever you want to call it, or when you say, oh, I'm going to have a cheat day or I'm going to include this in, when you're eating this bad stuff, where the processed food, the high fat food, the whatever, you can't eat very much of it. And you eat just a little bit of it, and those calories add up, and then you're feeling guilty. So many people are like, and then you got to overcompensate. And what do people do to overcompensate? They restrict. It's just this convoluted thing. I mean, like I say, I've been doing this 8.5 years. I read a lot of stuff online. I get people ask me questions directly. And like I say, it's a license to eat. Ever since I've been doing this for 8.5 years, since day one, I don't feel like I've had to hold myself back. I've never restricted. I've never been like, oh, I better not eat, or oh, I better wait till lunch, or whatever. It's just because it's the things that I'm putting into my body. It's not a diet. It's not a diet, even though we call it the raw food diet. You don't follow it like a diet, like a weight loss diet or this or that or the other, because restriction is never going to work. It's never going to work long term. And when you're eating a raw food diet, when you're eating a whole food plant-based diet, it takes a lot of food. It takes a lot of food to fill you up if you're eating the right things. So the thing is people are afraid when they're eating, their brains are so messed up on this diet mentality that when you're eating good, healthy food and you feel like eating a lot of it, there's just still this little something in the back of most people's head that's like, well, I shouldn't eat all of this, or I better stop, or I better eat a little bit less. Or even just visually, like looking at something and just being like, oh, that's a lot of food, when in reality, calorie-wise, it's not a lot of food. So don't be afraid of your food. Just make good choices. Eat the right food. Another thing too is people need to have a little bit they need to have different things in their repertoire. The things you keep in your house. What I'm getting at here is you need to satisfy two different things. You need to satisfy your sweet, and you need to satisfy your savory. Now, on the raw food diet, the way that most of the people that are probably watching me that do it kind of the way I do it, the sweet part of it, I don't think you need to come up with any recipes for that, because our people, we're fruit eaters. We eat lots of fruit. We're eating fruit almost every day. So the sweet part is there. Like, I had somebody one time, and they had followed me for a while, and they asked me, well, what do I do for sweet? And I'm like, are you kidding me? Did you just ask me that? You've followed me. You've seen my What I Eat in a Day videos. I eat sweet almost all day, every day. I eat ice cream in the morning. I eat fruit. I eat mangoes. I eat papayas. I eat pineapples. Fruit. some of the best, some of the best sugar there is. And for me, it's guilt-free sugar if I'm not eating too much fat. That's the thing right there. I'll just throw a little something in there. People are always like, well, isn't that too much sugar? No, it's not too much sugar. To me, there's really not too much sugar when it comes to the fruit part of it. There's too much sugar if you're eating too much fat. That's where the problem comes in. That's where the blood sugar issues come in. It's not the fruits you're taking in, it's that amount of fat you're taking in. So yeah, you're going to have a lot of problems. I don't want to go off in that direction, but if you're eating lots of fruit and you're eating high fat, that's just a recipe for disaster right there. So the savory, that's the one. People will eat their fruit all day. They'll make smoothies. They'll be doing all right. And then they don't have good recipes for the savory. That's why I'm always encouraging you to buy yourself a couple of recipe books, or either go online, you got to have yourself a good base of recipes that you're going to like. So look for that stuff. Look for recipes that mimics, even if it's not like a copy, like, okay, let's say for instance, instead of tacos, burgers, nachos, whatever, those aren't really great things. But I'm just saying, find a recipe that kind of emulates the taste that you're going for. So in other words, find some recipes that satisfy your salt. Use that's why I like to recommend a little bit of Bragg's aminos. Just using a little bit of it. You don't have to be nuts with it. Gives you a little bit of that salty, that savory in there. You can add, you add celery to things. You can, if you've got a a dehydrator, you can make chips, kale chips. Those are good because that satisfies your crunch and your salty sometimes. I'm just throwing things out there right now, kind of just babbling, but you get the point. Find things that satisfy those feelings, taste, sensations, bad things that you used to ate. The chips, find something that gives you that same feel, that same taste as the chips. Find something that you can replace the different things that you used to have in your lifestyle. Also too, and this is something I've talked about in recent videos. I think I talked about it in a couple of videos ago as well, is meeting your nutritional needs. When you're eating junk, everybody's eaten junk before. Let's go back before we did this lifestyle. I remember when I was, a meat eater, or eating the standard American diet, drinking, eating whatever. And I remember some days when I could just eat garbage all day long, especially if I was drinking. That helps your appetite. But it didn't have to, I could eat all day long because I was eating garbage. And even though, my stomach would get full for a little while and I'd have to stop, eventually I'd get hungry again because my nutritional needs were not being met. So besides just filling your belly with calories, you got to be getting that nutrition in your diet every day. That's why I'm always trying to just, look for something new. That's why I'm always trying to make sure there's not a lot. This is kind of sounds like a contradiction. There's not a lot of variety in my diet as far as the different dishes, recipes, this and that I make. But I do like to mix it up, by having my fruit, by having my greens, by having my sprouts, by having certain little things that fill in the gaps, like having my blackstrap molasses for a little bit of extra calcium and iron every day. But I'm always trying to find foods, and like I say, I'm not chasing particular nutrients. Like, I'm not going through the day going, okay, I haven't gotten my zinc today, better eat a handful of this, a thing of this. But I'm very cognizant of having to get those nutritional needs met. And as I've gone through 8.5 years, I've felt how I'm satisfied in a different way. When I was living in Costa Rica, I was a bit more fruitarian. I still eat a shit ton of fruit. I mean, I probably eat 15 bananas a day on an average day. When I'm starting to get mangoes again, I eat my mangoes. I have oranges. I have orange juice. So I eat plenty of fruit. But when I was in Costa Rica, I probably wasn't, focusing enough on other things. Well, I hadn't even thought about starting to do the sprouts yet. I think I may have done sprouts a couple of times, but I did start focusing on greens. But I've just kind of noticed that each year I keep feeling a little bit better because I keep plugging another hole. I keep plugging another hole. And listen, in the end, that's all that this channel I'm ever going to be able to kind of just show you is if you keep following, when we get into year 10, when we get into year 11, when we get into year 12, if I'm still feeling better, now you don't keep feeling like in the beginning. You feel a lot better after a year than you did when you first went on this lifestyle. In the second year, you still feel a lot better. After a while, there's a little bit diminishing returns. Like like I don't feel like just night and day better, different now than I did a year ago, but I still, each year, I feel a little bit more solid. And I'll be 57 years old next month. So make sure you're eating enough calories for your size and your activity level. Make sure you're eating food that you enjoy, that satisfies you, that satisfies your taste buds, that satisfies your, just your pleasure. And also be sure that you're eating enough food that satisfies your nutritional needs. It's so easy. Sometimes I'm just sitting around going, okay, what's another way I can say it? What's that one way I'm going to say it that's going to make it click for that person? Because like I say, what you see is what you get. That's not me trying to tell you and make you feel bad like, oh, it's so easy. It's my day to day for 8.5 years. It's almost like I opened up a holy book and I'm like, wait a minute, I can eat all this damn food and I'm going to feel better than I've ever felt in my life? What's the catch here? The catch is there ain't no catch. Anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this one today. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up and I'll see you again in a couple of days. Peace.